These are the 7 princes of hell. Peter Binsfeld was a German bishop and religious scholar born in Germany in 1540. As a child, it was determined he was gifted enough to be sent to Rome to study. Once home from school, he would mostly be recognized for his part in anti-Protestant campaigns. But where he would go down in history would be his role in the witch trials of Trier. These would take place in Germany from 1581 to 1593. It was during this 12-year span that Binsfeld would conjure his most influential work, The Confessions of Witches and Warlocks. It's in this book that you will find his list, the 7 princes of hell, and he would choose each one based on the 7 deadly sins. Starting with number 7, Belvagore, the demon of sloth. Binsfeld saw him as the chief of laziness, which may have been true, but his cunning and wit made up for it. He would use these traits to manipulate man. He might whisper in someone's ear to guide them to riches, only to come back later and steal it all. Depending on which list you reference, Satan is the demon of wrath. Early Christians tended to believe in Satan, and contrary to popular belief, he is not the same demon as Lucifer. Around 1400, the hysteria about witchcraft and warlocks would spiral out of control, and people who before never worried about Satan or really believed in him, started to. This gave him power, and he began influencing people towards corruption. They chose him as wrath because he was often an angry demon, and when in a rage, you better watch out. Others list the fallen angel Azazel. You see him referenced in the book of Enoch as one of the 200 watchers. When they descended upon earth to bear children with man's daughters, Azazel would play the biggest role on teaching humans sin. He would teach them of sword and armor and unknown metals, causing massive wars among man. He would eventually be cast into darkness for eternity by Archangel Raphael. After being banished, his anger rose, and he became known for wrath. Number 5 is Beelzebub. He represents gluttony. He's the second in command to Lucifer. You may know him as the Lord of the Flies. Number 4 is Leviathan, a hellmouth whose mouth are the gates to hell. He consumes those who envy. Number 3, Asmodeus. He represents the sin of lust, referenced as the builder of the city of King Solomon. He would instill lust through the land from the kings to the common folk. Mammon. He represents the sin of greed, and he would enslave those driven by greed and wealth. Number 1, Lucifer, representing the worst sin of all, pride. Lucifer was once an archangel, but his good looks and wit went to his head. He would use his charm to attain anything he wanted. So at one point, he believed he could even run heaven. After leading a rebellion against God, he lost, so he was cast to hell for eternity.